When it comes to player development, though, the big one is Drake Maye. Like Drake Maye taking the year 2 leap. A lot of this, the 10, you had 11, right? When we did the schedule show, 11 wins. You
well, yeah, when we ran through just win or loss, yeah.
But a lot of where this is coming from us, from other people, there's people going up to 13 wins, is Drake Maye taking that year 2 leap, like we've seen other quarterbacks take, right? Like when I'm looking at that, when we're going through that exercise, I'm picturing Drake Maye that much better than where he was last year. And not, we've seen other quarterbacks do it, so it's not impossible. But he's got to get there. It was a process this spring. Again, we didn't see the practices in a linear fashion. We saw 3 of the 9 OTAs, and then obviously both minicamp practices. So we didn't see everything, but it seemed like he was on an upward trajectory. But he's somebody that's got to take that next step. He's got to do it while learning a new offense. So it's not an ideal situation. That's not to say that they should have kept the previous coaching staff just so that Drake Maye could have some familiarity, right? They needed a change, and they did. But he's got his work cut out for him, but it feels like this spring was a good start. Way to go, but a good start.
Yeah, well, look, if Drake Maye does, just say he does make that leap, like he emerges as this elite franchise type of guy, they are going to be a top contender in the AFC. We are looking at 13 wins. Like Drake Maye, assuming Stephon Diggs is out there, he's healthy, he's relative, he's close to the same guy. The defense, the way they're playing, coaching, they should be, one of the high-end teams in the conference. And so that's why I think a lot of it is going to come down to how Drake Maye plays. I think he was fine. I'm not saying he was bad in the practices by any means, in the spring practices that we did get to see. I don't see a guy that's making the year 2 leap. Not just yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
I think he's got to work on consistent accuracy down the field. I think like we saw a couple of practices that we talked in prior podcasts where he looked consistent throwing the ball down the field. Didn't look so much in that second minicamp practice. I think maybe the pressure was getting to him, which we can talk about later. But yeah, I think the consistency is what makes a guy elite. Like you get, more or less the same guy every week. If you're going to get a week where Drake Maye is on point with all his throws, and then the next week he's turning the ball over, he's spraying the ball all over the field, well, you're not going to be a top contending team with your quarterback playing like that. So I need to see more consistency out of Drake Maye. And I get it. We weren't there for every OTA. And so it's hard to tell when you're not there every single day. It'll be different when we're at camp and we're there every single day to see the progression. And I know it's not going to be perfectly linear upward or downward or whatever. It might be up and down. But so far
it's not linear downward.
Yeah. Linear downward would be bad. That's
Mac Jones.
That's not a leap. What's the opposite of a year 2 leap? The year 2 plunge.
Sophomore slump.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. I would lean more towards sophomore slump than year 2 leap at this point, but I'm not saying that he's a bust or anything like that. Let's not go too far with it, but he's got the talent. I'm just looking for the consistency. And so I'm not really seeing that quite yet.
He's never going to be the most consistent quarterback. That's just his play style, right? He hunts big plays. He's kind of boomer bust, and he's never going to be like Tom Brady or even, Mac Jones in 2021. Obviously Mac Jones isn't Tom Brady, but stylistically you're getting at it the same way, right?
Well, can the playmaking be consistent? Can he make big plays every week? And then maybe
you're looking for.
I would say maybe the turnovers will be erratic, but the decision making and the turnovers will be sort of up and down. But can he make plays every week?
Yeah,
that's what I'm
saying
for.
Is measuring him by completion percentage is never going to make sense. He's not that kind of quarterback. But if he's completing 50% of his passes, but they're putting up 28 points a week, great. And I think that's more where you're looking. I had him, and this is a very elementary way of doing it. I guess I should go in order. The 5 practices we saw, F, C, A, C. Or F, C, A plus, A minus, C, I guess is how I would go.
Okay, yeah. So the 4 interceptions was the F.
The 4 interceptions was the F. Yeah, going chronologically.
And so yesterday was a C. I think that's fair.
I thought he was fine. The interception really was not his worst play. That was...
I didn't love the decision. He just kind of heaved it up.
I didn't love the decision, but it's a 50-50 ball. He knew there was a chance that pass was going to get picked. And he even said the day before he was going to test Christian Gonzalez, and I think he was just being cocky. The bigger thing, he short-armed a couple throws in the flat, and he was holding the ball a little bit. So
yeah, and you never know. Maybe that play was designed throw the ball up there and let Kyle Williams and Christian Gonzalez compete there.
That maybe the coach is saying. Now, what I don't love is how many contested catch throws they were giving to Kyle Williams yesterday. And when I say I don't love it, fine, let the kid work on it in the spring. I'm not against that in theory. He's not a contested catch guy. Don't throw him back shoulder fades.
Yeah, I prefer Kyle Williams getting open.
Right. Let him use his quickness and get open. Run the routes with him that you should have been running with N'Keal Harry for all those years, and the routes N'Keal Harry was trying to run.
Right.
Let Kyle Williams run those.
He can actually run the routes.
Right. He actually doesn't have stone feet. So I didn't love that, but like, yeah, we'll get to Gonzalez and all that. But I just think with Maye, he's making progress, and it's going to be about him just like there's going to be rough points and not letting it get to him and remaining confident, because with quarterbacks like that, you have to play with confidence. When you're a gunslinger quarterback and you're not playing with confidence, it can get really ugly really quickly.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about Maye is he does feel like he's more decisive with the decisions he's making out there.
It felt like he was getting more decisive as the spring went on. I wouldn't say he was decisive at the beginning.
He feels more in command of what he wants to do. It's the execution that needs to be a little more consistent with him.
But work on.
That he can work on. Of course, that's you just get reps, right? But yeah, him with Josh McDaniels, it feels like they are sort of gelling in terms of what he's seeing, what Josh McDaniels is seeing, what they want to do. And it's just a matter of getting those reps in and getting more consistent execution. That's what I think the key is for him.
Yeah, and I think it's going to help against a live rush too, because I think, and he wouldn't be alone in this. Quarterbacks have talked about this, like especially even in a padded practice where they can't hit you. Like in a non-padded practice, nobody's really rushing. You'll kind of take your time with it. Yeah. Versus even when they can't hit you, but it's a padded practice, it's like, oh, I can't make the offensive line look bad, right? I got to get rid of this ball.
There's a lot of plays where it's like, you can give him the completion if you want, but it's like he held the ball for 8 seconds. Right. He's either
you could do that with some of the interceptions.
He's either going to get sacked or flushed out of the pocket on that play. You know what I mean? So
Mike Vrabel yesterday kind of talked about in the red zone the way they want to do it, and the way he views it just around the league is because it all happens so quick down there. 1 read, 2 read, go. Yeah, and they do it. Every quarterback does it a little bit. But like you really don't want to scramble in non-padded practices. No. But there are plays where you look at it and it's like, all right, he just kind of ate that. In a game, though, like there's a rush lane there because he has his legs as a factor. That's it. Like we're not seeing how his legs are going to factor in. And I think they're going to factor in more than they did last year where they refused to design run him. Right. So there's that element of it, too, that we just haven't seen. Whether it'll work, whether it won't work, I don't know. But we don't even know what it's going to look like. I think it will be there. But is it going to be design quarterback runs? Is it going to be read options? Are they going to build quarterback runs into RPOs? What's it going to look like when he scrambles? What are the directives there? And we won't really get into that till the preseason, but that's a huge element that we traditionally hear outside of that 1 year with Cam Newton when the team wasn't being picked apart as much because we all knew it was a rebuilding year. We've never really talked about that as an element of the quarterback game. Maybe people who covered Steve Grogan did way back, but that's completely different, right? There's a whole other side of him being a weapon, of Maye being a weapon, that just they can't work on right now. Or they can, but like in a very limited sense.
Yeah, and we saw one play yesterday that I think you and I and Lazar all agreed that was a designed run that they ran with Drake Maye, right? But yeah, like you said, it's hard to really figure out how that play is going to look and how Drake Maye is going to feel running those plays without a guy actually trying to hit him and tackle him. And so that might be something that we have to wait until padded practices, preseason. I mean, not even training camp really, because you can't hit the quarterback anyway. Right. But yeah, preseason, like that might be our first test for how he's going to look when he's carrying the ball. There were a few plays where he just tucked the ball and ran out of bounds, and because there was nothing downfield, and like it feels like maybe nobody was open. Maybe that was the right decision. Maybe the coaches look at him and say, okay, I'm glad you actually held the ball there instead of forcing it. So it's really hard to tell. It's a little early, in terms of the non-padded practices and what the quarterback's seeing and the plays they're trying to run and the things they're trying to get out of those drills. And so that's sort of hard to tell, but I was happy to see a designed quarterback run. So like, I'm glad that they are going to try to work that in.